Hello everyone, it's Gabin from Design Tribe, and in this video I'm going to be showing you exactly how I designed this poster from start to finish. So please do well to support me by liking this video and sharing it with others so that YouTube can recommend this video to others. Thank you so much. Let's get into the tutorial. Okay, so the very first thing we will want to do here is to create our project file. I'll go by 20 by 20. Leave my resolution at 200 pixels. That's it. Then I'll bring in the graphics I'll use for this project, and this image was downloaded from Pinterest. So once I bring this in, I'm going to reduce the size a little, and the next thing I want to do is to rasterize the layer. Once it is rasterized, I'm going to make a selection around it, select subject in order to cut out the background. And once the selection is done, you see Photoshop didn't do a good job in this case. So what I'm going to be doing here is I'm going to use my pen tool to make the selection of this plate. So I'm just going to grab my pen tool. In case you don't know how to use the pen tool, or you are still struggling on how to use a pen tool, I'm going to be leaving a link on this video where you can watch one of my videos in which I dealt extensively on how to use the pen tool. So I'll just do this, just select around this plate. Okay, once this is done, just right click and click on select make selection, and then once that selection has been made, I'll just click on the layer where the image is, and I'll create a clipping mask. I'll create a mask, sorry, not a clipping mask. Once that is done, the next thing I want to do is to design the background, to create the background. So my background for this is going to be a green background. So I'll just pick a background color from the food, that green color, and I'll just fill this background layer with that. Now the next thing I'm going to do is to create a plate. I'm not satisfied with how this plate looks, so I'm going to create an ellipse shape for that using the ellipse tool. I select the ellipse tool from here, make the fill color this color. So I'm going to choose this color of the plate. The reason I'm choosing this is so that the transition from this plate to the artificial plate I'm going to design is going to be smooth. Okay, then I'm going to give it a stroke it a little. That is it. Then I'll just draw the plate now. So that's the shape of the plate. So if you can see, you see that there is still a little difference between the colors. So I'll still go back to my ellipse tool, my shape layer. I'll select the same, I'll click on the color, the fill color, use my color picker tool, then I pick a color here that will just blend nicely. Okay, once that is done, all I need to do now is just to use my brush tool to paint out the areas that I don't want on the mask. So if you don't understand how the mask works, I also did a video on that previously, so I'm going to leave a link in the description or on this video so that you can watch how that works. Okay, so on this mask layer, I'm going to use a black, so I'm just going to paint here. Erase this. Okay, paints with white. Something's wrong. Okay, so I'm going to paint. Now when I was creating the shape tool, when I was using the pen tool to make my selection, this outline you're seeing up here was created at that point. So what I'm going to do is just to delete this, and then I go back to my layer here. I just neatly erase the areas that I don't want using the brush. So just erase like that. Make sure there is a good transition. Just want to paint softly around these edges. Okay. Think we are almost done. Okay, so once that is done, we have a good plate there. What we need to do now is just to add a drop shadow to it. So I'll go to my layer styles and I go to drop shadow, click on drop shadows. I'm going to modify. Sorry, we are on the wrong layer. You want to use the eclipse layer, this one instead, the ellipse layer. You go there, just take drop shadow, and there you can change the angle of the shadow like this, and reduce the distance, reduce the size. And drop shadow should be black. Change the color to black, and then I reduce opacity to something like this, and reduce the spread a little, modify the spread, and I think that's pretty good. Now take, okay, if you don't understand how the layer styles work, I'm going to be leaving a video that I did previously on the comments section. Okay, once that is done, I'll just group the food and the plate we created together, group them together, and then convert them to a smart object, and that is it. You can move it to this side of the page. The next thing I want to do is to create the brush strokes that you see here, these brush strokes here. So I'm just going to select my brush tool, create a new layer, go to my brushes. I have some preset brushes that I use, so I'll just modify the angle like that, and I choose a color from here. Every color I used, I got it from this image. Every color in the project was gotten from this image. So when I choose that color, I just go back to my brush and I just click, that's created. Then I create another layer for the other brush strokes, so that in case I want to modify the way the brush looks, I can still modify. So just create a new layer, and then I click. So sorry, this both layers were supposed to be below. So that is it, and I think I want to a more dark green background like this. So I'll go back again for my background. I'll just select this green, just select the green, then I make sure I bring it down a little so it's more darker, and that is it. The next thing I did was to bring in a texture, a paper texture. This is it. I just bring in my texture on the background, scale it up. Once that is done, click enter, and I use multiply for the blending mode. So at this point I just need to adjust the position of this slightly. Now I bring in the brand name. The brand name is Queen's Kitchen. Just click up here, but before doing that I want everything here to be aligned, so I'll just create a guide here at this point. Then I'll just click, change my font to Montserrat Light, and I'll type in Queen's Kitchen. Kitchen. Her kitchen has an E at the end. So I select both, go to character adjustments, and I adjust this to 16 or say 18. Can increase it a little, maybe to 19. Typing it in. That's done. I'll just move it up here, and the next thing I want to write is tasty fried rice. So I'll use the same font size to type tasty, modify, move it down a little, and I type in fried rice. And here I will change my fonts to Poppins bold. I increase the font size to excuse me, increase the font size to 24. Okay, about that size. Maybe I'll have to make it a little bigger, say, yeah, something like that. And then I reduce the space between the characters, something like this. And I will increase tasty, the font size of tasty, just something like that. Okay, that's it. Then I'm going to reduce the size of this a little and bring it down somewhere here. And also this brush stroke here, I'm going to reduce it a little so we can have space here to type. This is why it's important to always have your strokes on two separate layers. Had it been I had these two brush strokes on the same layer, it would have been impossible for me to just move this part. I would have had to go back to draw another one, which would not be fun. Okay, next thing we want to bring in is our text below this. So that's just a random text I put there. So I'm just going to be putting in a random text here, since this is not an actual project. It's just something I want to use as a demonstration to show you how I design this kind of posters. Can reduce this to 10. Go back to Montserrat. Okay, Montserrat regular. Can take the font size to 9. Can reduce like that. And then on this other side, I may just reduce a little like this. Yeah, I think that is pretty good. I can reduce the line spacing a little. Okay, Then the next thing is to create the bullet points. For that I use the ellipse tool. Just hold shift to make sure it's a perfect circle. That, and I click here. Sorry, I select my text tool again, create a paragraph text, fill it up with random text, and then move it to this point. Here, reduce the line spacing again, maybe to 13 this time around. 13. That's it. Then I'll just group this together. Ctrl J to duplicate, and I move it down. Ctrl J to duplicate, and I move down again. That's it. I may want to modify. It's looking a little too choked up, so I will group everything together. Hope everything is selected. Okay, group everything together. Ctrl T for transform, and I reduce the size a little. Okay, that's it. Next thing is to add the order now. Down here I'm going to be using the rounded rectangular tool, making sure the fill is at 0, the stroke is at 5.8, like this. And then here I can work on the roundness, modify this. If you have problems working with shapes, I also have another video which I did on how to use shapes, how to draw shapes in Photoshop. I'm also going to be leaving the link to that video in the description below so that you can watch that. So here I'll just type order now. Order now. Increase my font size to 12. Make this bold. And I bring it into this point. Okay, then the next thing is just to bring it up a little. Select both layers. Sorry about that. Select both layers, and I bring it up a little. At that point, then next thing is to bring in contact icon. I'll go to shapes and release, select this shape. Once it's selected, I'll go to shape properties here, and I'll give it a fill, a white color. Make the fill color white, and I remove the stroke. I don't want any stroke on it. That's it. Reduce the size. Once the size is reduced, I just bring it down here. So I will take it up, bring the layer above, because it's actually behind the stroke layer. So once it's here, bring it here, and then we'll just type in the contacts. Plus 237 3 1 2 3. and I go and I make it regular, not bold. And that's pretty much it. So if you loved this video, please do well to support me by liking, sharing, dropping a comment at the comment section. Thank you so much for watching. See you in my very next video.